Hey guys, today I will be going through the new updated 538 forecast for the 2020 presidential election. This is, in my opinion, the best forecast out there for forecasting the 2020 election. I think that they really do the best at showing the current data and the data that they have collected. So currently Joe Biden is favored to win the election. This was just updated 7 hours ago as of recording. So looking at this forecast, currently Joe Biden has a 77% chance of winning the election, while Donald Trump has a 23 and 100 chance of winning his re-election. And these are just some of the 40,000 simulations that 538 has done, simulating the 2020 election, and this gives you a good idea of the range of scenarios that the model that they have created thinks is possible. So as you can see, the best model, or I guess result for Biden, 510 electoral votes. That's not going to happen, while the best result for President Trump is just 362 electoral votes. There's no way it's going to happen. He's not going to carry states like Delaware, Maryland, or Oregon, but these are just the outliers. But looking at the closest results, I think it's going to be somewhere around right here, 320 to 320 to 340, I think, is the average range currently for Joe Biden. But 538 actually gives Joe Biden an even higher electoral vote count. I want to talk about that in just a couple of moments, as they have seen some pretty huge shifts in their projection for the 2020 election. And then this is kind of like the same thing. This is just their simulations graphed in a line chart, I guess. This is the same graphic inverted. So as you can see, the most likely, or the simulation in which there is the highest amount of these results that came out from their simulations, is Biden winning over 400 electoral votes. It's not going to happen, followed by him winning around 360 electoral votes. And we see another bump at around 320 to 330 electoral votes for Joe Biden. But as you can see, the amount of Trump victories are just very, very low. And so, yeah, that's a very good sign for Joe Biden that he has so many different, there's such a larger range for him to win than it is for President Trump, according to this new updated forecast. And then this is their very famous snake graph, the winding path to victory. So looking at this graph, we have seen two shifts since the last time we took a look at this forecast. First, the 2nd District of Maine and the state of Ohio. I'm going to talk about Ohio first. This is the big one. Joe Biden now has a 52% chance, according to this model that predicted the 2012 election 100% correctly. Joe Biden has a 52% chance of winning the election. As you can see, Trump had a higher chance of winning all the way back, from all the way back in July. However, this is the first time in months that Joe Biden has been leading in terms of percentage chance of victory here, 52 to 48. This was just updated a couple days ago. And then looking at the popular vote, not a couple days ago, just a couple of hours ago, and looking at the popular vote, Joe Biden is up 0.2% expected on election night, far from Trump's peak when he is expected to win this state by over 2%. And this is because these 3 new polls have come out showing Biden in the lead, and I did go a little bit further into these polls earlier today, so make sure you check out that video if you have not, where I talk about the new polling numbers, and I think that some of them will surprise you. Biden leads by 5 points in this Fox News poll. So that is very good for Joe Biden, that he is doing so well in this state. And then the other flip, the 2nd District of Maine. As you can see, Joe Biden currently has a 51% chance of victory here, very, very close. And then that's just the main Senate. Gideon is slightly favored to win. We're going to take a look at the Senate forecast in a couple of days, but as you can see, Trump had over 60% chance of winning at the beginning of this month. However, since then, his numbers have dropped drastically. He is now at 51%. And then popular vote, as you can see, we see basically the same thing here as well. This is the Maine 2nd District only, so just the 2nd District. And as you can see, Joe Biden 49.4 to President Trump 49. And then this is because of the new polling. As you can see, Quinnipiac shows Biden up 9, Suffolk shows Biden up 1, New York Times and Siena College shows Biden up 2, and then some more polls that show Biden in the lead. So this is why Joe Biden has been awarded the 2nd District of Maine according to this forecast, and I'm pretty sure that these results here would give Joe Biden over 350 electoral votes, 352 electoral votes, I believe, is the number of all of these electoral votes right here. And then some other states I want to take a look at. I want to take a look at the state of North Carolina. Biden 49.9% to President Trump with 49.3%. This is the forecasted vote share, not their percentage chances of victory. But I do want to take a look at Florida. I think the chances for Joe Biden in Florida have dropped. As you can see, yes, they have, or not too much, but still 3 points in favor of the president. As you can see, 57 for Biden, 43% chance of a Trump victory. This is to say that Trump carried by 1.2% in 2016, but Biden's numbers definitely are not as strong as they were. However, just a couple of weeks ago, his numbers went down quite a bit as well, so he is doing a little bit better than he was at the beginning of the month. And looking at the polls here, this does show that Joe Biden is slipping. If we take a look at the numbers that he had before this definitely does show that Joe Biden is not performing as well as he was in the summer. How this is definitely not a state that he needs. It would just boost his electoral vote count pretty significantly. 29 electoral votes. That is a pretty large number, the third largest in the entire country. And then, as you can see, the more solid these states are, the farther to the top or bottom they are on this snake graph. And some other states I want to take a look at: Virginia 54-44, Colorado 53-44, Minnesota. Actually, I want to take a look at this: 89% chance of a Biden victory, 11% chance of a Trump victory. As you can see, he has surged in the state of Minnesota after the Republican National Convention. Many were betting that Joe Biden would lose this state because the polls did show that there was a little bit of a tightening in this race. However, since then, as you can clearly see here, Joe Biden's numbers have jumped up drastically. He is almost at his peak that he had in the summer. In terms of chances of victory, he is at his peak. In terms of the popular vote, he is very close to his peak, 53%. He's just a few tenths of a percentage point down from his peak in the summer. Looking at the polls here, 16 points in ABC and Washington Post poll. I believe there's also one where he's up 17 points by the same pollster. A+ rated pollsters, CNN College, New York Times, Biden +9. Definitely a very good sign for Biden. He's going to retain this state, a state that Clinton only won by 1.5% in 2016. And then continuing along, another state I want to take a look at, Texas, 72% in favor of Trump right now, 28% for Joe Biden. His numbers have come up a little bit. He did have a little bit of a dip in his chances of victory in the month of September. The popular vote has also gotten a little bit better for Trump. He has been leading more consistently in the polls. He has been leading in more polls as well. So this, I think, is a positive for the president, but definitely not good. He's only leading by pretty slim margins in this state. And he won the state by 8% in 2016. So he's far from the numbers that he saw 4 years ago in Texas. And keep in mind, this is a state that he cannot lose. If he loses Texas, he loses the election. He cannot get to 270 electoral votes in any reasonable way without carrying the state of Texas. And then some other states, Iowa, he's currently expected to win by a little bit over 2%. Georgia, very close race here as well, 63-37. If we were to take a look at this here, currently, right now, 63-37. His numbers have fallen from the beginning of this month, where he was at 70. Popular vote also has fallen. They were even in the 3 newest polls. This only shows 2, but if we look at the actual polls, you would see that the 3 latest polls out of this state do show a tie, and that is definitely good for Joe Biden. It's not a state that he needs, but it's pretty cool to see that he is performing so well in the state of Georgia, a state that he barely put that much time or money into. But good sign for the Democrats that they are making gains in the South, and they might possibly take back the South in just a couple of decades. Of course, they lost this after the Civil Rights Act in 1963 that was signed by LBJ 60 years ago. And so that's basically all the states that we want to take a look at. As you can see, the 3rd district of Nebraska, the most conservative district in the entire country from 2016, followed by the most conservative state, the state of Wyoming, 68% projected for Trump. That is still a step down from his 2016 numbers. So you will see that President Trump is expected to do worse in basically every single state compared to 2016. And then looking at how this forecast has changed the chances of winning, currently Joe Biden 77%, as we saw earlier. He has now basically peaked in terms of his percentage of victory for, his percentage in the last couple of months. His peak was at 79%. He is now at 77%, and that was in the summer. So he's doing the best that he's done in quite a while. The electoral vote count, currently Joe Biden 330, President Trump 208. I am very sure that this is wrong. If you were to add up all of the electoral votes from these states, you would get 352, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but definitely more than 330 electoral votes. So I'm sure that this is not accurate in terms of what this snake graph shows. And then the popular vote, as you can see, pretty steady, honestly, not too much of a change, but Biden is doing better than he was just a couple of weeks ago. And then these are the weird and not so weird possibilities. I actually like taking a look at this. The chances that Trump wins the popular vote, 12%. Biden wins the popular vote, 88%. This is actually good for Trump. The Economist forecast gives him like a 3% chance of carrying the popular vote. Trump wins a majority, 8 in 100. Biden wins a majority, 83 in 100. Trump wins in a landslide less than 1%. Biden landslide over 29%. Trump wins the popular vote but loses the electoral college. It's not going to happen. Biden does the same thing that Clinton does, wins the popular vote but loses the electoral college, 11%. That's a good sign that we're not going to have this whole discrepancy once again that we did in 2016. No candidate reaches 270, not going to happen, less than 1%. Trump wins at least one state that Clinton won in 2016. It is 36%, but I honestly do not think that's going to occur. I think that Trump is not going to win any state that Clinton won in 2016. I think he's not going to make any gains. Even if he wins the election, he's going to win by a much smaller margin. It's going to be so tight if he's going to win. But the chances that Biden flips a state, 91%, definitely. He's going to flip a state. And then this map sees the same, less than 1%. I don't think it's going to happen. And then the election hinges on a recount. I could definitely see this occurring. I think that with all of, the articles right now out about President Trump, with all of the, just the suspicion that he's going to try to illegitimize the election results, I think that definitely I don't want to talk about this too much because nobody knows what's actually going to happen, but I think that right now, definitely, the election could be much different than what you expect, and that finding a clear winner is not going to be as simple as it was before. So this is the end of the forecast. I want to take a look at the national polling averages here, actually, as well. Currently, Biden is up 7.1%. 538 does do some balancing of their polls, so this is probably the most accurate. As you can see, all these new polls added yesterday. Biden, pretty good numbers for the former vice president. Biden again leads in basically every single poll. They're adding new polls every single day, and Donald Trump does not lead in any of these polls. Looking at all of these polls, by the USC of Dornsife right there, these polls released in August and September. They did so many of these polls, all of them. These are not old polls. These are not from like May or March. These are polls from August and September. All of them show Biden within a double-digit lead, or not all of them, but a lot of them, most of them show Biden up at double digits over President Trump. So this is just great news for the Biden campaign. I mean, he leads in every single poll. I cannot find a poll that shows that Trump is ahead. We can have them show more polls, but no, Trump does not even a poll with the EU. That's the only one. Rasmussen reports. This is one of Trump's favorite pollsters, very biased towards the right, but Biden. Look at all of these numbers, it's just all blue if you were to scroll up. So Joe Biden leads by 7.1% on average, according to the national numbers at this moment in time. So that is it. This is the new updated 538 forecast for the 2020 presidential election. I would like to thank you for watching this video. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed it, as well as consider subscribing to my channel if you enjoyed it as well, and leave your thoughts in the comments below along with any video suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you in the next video.